Composite functions. Find f of g or g of f with numbers. What are they? Functions are a relation from a set of inputs to a set of outputs, where each input maps to exactly one output. Why? Helps to figure out supply and demand. Interesting fact, the largest turtle is a leatherback sea turtle. It can weigh over 900 kilograms or 2,000 pounds. Now, let's take a look at the definition of composite functions. A composite function of f of g, or two functions f and g, is f of g of x is equal to f of g of x. The domain of f of g is a set of all x in the domain of g, such that g of x is the domain of f. Now, let's take a look at the example we're going to discuss in today's video. Let's read the steps. Step 1, substitute the inner function. Step 2, substitute new input in the outer function. Step 3, follow order of operations. Now, let's read the question. Find f of g of x and g of f of x when x is equal to 3, where f of x is equal to x squared and g of x is equal to 3x minus 5. First, let's find f of g of x. Which function do we need to find first? We need to find g of x since it is the inner function. Now, let's substitute 3 into g of x. So now we have g of 3 is equal to 3 times 3 minus 5. And 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 minus 5 is 4. So g of 3 is equal to 4. What does that 4 represent? That 4 is our new input. So let's write down f of x is equal to x squared, so we can substitute 4 for x. So now we have f of 4 is equal to 4 squared, and 4 squared is 16. So f of 4 is equal to 16. Now, let's find f of g of x, so we only have to substitute once. Which function is the inner function? G of x is the inner function, so let's substitute 3x minus 5 for g of x. So now we have f of g of x is equal to f of 3x minus 5. Now, let's substitute 3x minus 5 into f of x, so now we have f of g of x is equal to the quantity of 3x minus 5 squared. And that binomial squared is 9x squared minus 30x plus 25. Now we found f of g of x. Let's write it down again so we can substitute 3 for x. So now we have f of g of 3 is equal to 9 times 3 squared minus 30 times 3 plus 25. Let's simplify. 3 squared is 9, minus 30 times 3 is minus 90. 9 times 9 is 81, and 81 minus 90 plus 25 is 16. So f of g of 3 is equal to 16. So we can say f of g of 3 is equal to f of g of 3, which is equal to f of 4, which is equal to 16. That is f of g of x. Now let's find g of f of x. Which function do we need to find first? We need to find f of x since it is the inner function. Now let's substitute 3 into f of x. So now we have f of 3 is equal to 3 squared, and 3 squared is 9, so f of 3 is equal to 9. What does that 9 represent? That 9 is our new input. So let's write down g of x so we can substitute 9 for x. So now we have g of 9 is equal to 3 times 9 minus 5, and 3 times 9 is 27, and 27 minus 5 is 22. So g of 9 is equal to 22. Now let's find g of f of x, so we only have to substitute once. Which function is the inner function? F of x is the inner function. So let's substitute x squared for f of x. So now we have g of f of x is equal to g of x squared. So now let's substitute x squared into g of x. So now we have g of f of x is equal to 3 times x squared minus 5. Let's drop those parentheses. Now we found g of f of x. Let's write it down again so we can substitute 3 for x. So now we have g of f of 3 is equal to 3 times 3 squared minus 5. And 3 squared is 9, and 3 times 9 is 27, and 27 minus 5 is 22. So g of f of 3 is equal to 22. So we can say g of f of 3 is equal to g of f of 3, which is equal to g of 9, which is equal to 22. That is g of f of x. Now it is your turn. So go ahead and pause the video here so you can take your time to answer this question, and I'll show you the results in 3, 2, and 1. Here is f of g of x. Here is g of f of x. Did you get it correct? Superb. If not, there's always tomorrow.